Hi everyone, this is Carolina. Today I'm going to be showing you how to put this gift holder together, and inside is actually a 2012 calendar that someone can go ahead and just put on their desk as such, and it comes together quite quickly. So with that, why don't we go ahead and get started, and the first thing we're going to tackle is the stamped piece. Okay, so for this part you'll need a scrap piece of paper, some Flour Soft or glitter. I'm using the ultra fine black Flour Soft, and I actually put my glitter and my Flour Soft in these containers because then you can always just keep whatever you don't use and put it back in there. A stamped image, colored. I added some stitching and cut it out, and then a mat to put once it's all done and dry. So we'll go ahead and get started. Oh, sorry, yep, and a glue. I'm using Martha Stewart glitter glue, which is great for glitter and for Flour Soft. And I love how it comes with its own applicator. So let me go ahead and get that open, as well as my Flour Soft, so I have both pieces ready to go. Okay, and get some glue here. Actually, let me go ahead and zoom in because it's going to be quite a detailed piece. I'm not adding a lot. I'm just adding a little bit. It's one of those little touches that kind of goes a long way. So anyways, put it right in the middle. You can do it in the whole black part if you want. I just wanted a little dab of it, so I'm just putting a little bit in the middle. Then go ahead and take some Flour Soft and sprinkle more than you need because the excess you'll always be putting back anyway, so you're not wasting anything at all. And then you're just going to basically mush it down. Just kind of put it into the glue so it sticks to the glue, as I'm doing here. Just make sure you get it all down in there. Then tap off any extra. And then you can kind of adjust it since it is wet glue. You can kind of do that. See, so it erases it a little bit. It's just a nice little touch that the recipient will be like, oh, very cool, something neat. And then you just put your excess back into the Glad container. Put your lid on it. And then it's ready to go for next time. You hardly wasted any at all. Then go ahead and once it's dry, you want to add that piece to your mat, and we'll go ahead and save that for later. Now we're going to work on our glassine bag, and I'll let you know how all this came together. So you'll need the bag. I add a piece of double-sided tape to the middle of it, a button, the sentiment, oops, let me turn around. The sentiment, I stamped it, cut it out with the Labels 8 die, and added some stitching, and then some hemp and scissors. Okay, so the best way I found out how to do this is I added my double-sided tape, take out the covering, and then you're going to add a strip of your hemp. Just leaving enough that you're going to be using later on. You'll use this to tie the button and the sentiment together, and then you're just going to go 2 or 3 times around the bag. And once you do that, go ahead and cut off any excess. Put your sentiment in first through the punched hole as such. Okay, and then slip it all the way down as much as possible. Next, you're going to put your button. So just basically the button has 4 holes. I'm just putting the hemp through 2 of them since you're going to be tying it anyways. Depending on how much of tails you have left, you can either knot it or you can add a bow. I left enough so that I can add a bow. So first I'm going to tie it in a knot, and then I'm going to do the bow. So first the knot, and then just create your bow. Just do a loop and then bring the other piece around and loop it through, and there's my bow. Fix it however you'd like, and you're going to cut out any excess that you might have so the tails look nice and even, or really it's up to you. If you like to have one longer than the other, totally fine too. In order to keep your sentiment in place, we're going to put a glue dot there, but not until we add the stamped image. I went ahead and matted it already, added some double-sided tape. Once you remove the covering, you're going to go ahead and place it in the middle of your bag on top of the hemp and underneath your sentiment as such. And once it has a good adherence, you can fix your hemp if you'd like, and then like I said, we'll add a little glue dot underneath there, and that will keep your sentiment in place, and it will allow it for it to not go anywhere. And with that, we're done with this part of it. That's what the back looks like, and we'll go ahead and set it aside. Next, we're going to go ahead and get started on the calendar, and more specifically the holder piece, which is this. And let's go ahead and get our materials. You'll need a piece of cardstock that measures 3.5 by 6. And you'll also need one of the lacy squares. You'll need the 3 1/4 lacy square die. And go ahead and fold your piece of cardstock in half. And what we're going to try to do is align it to just above the first scallop on either side. Let me zoom in here. So basically you'll go right there. So the whole top row will be exposed. And this will allow for that fold to stay intact. This is what it looks like from the back. And then you go ahead and run it through your Cuttlebug or whatever cutting machine you have, and you'll end up with something like this. Pops out. And then it's a little stand for your calendar. We're going to now go ahead and work on the calendar piece. And this is what it'll look like when it's done. You'll need the PDF file, which you'll be able to find on my blog, a crocodile or some kind of hole punch, and 2 brads. Now, I want to zoom in here because I want to talk to you about the calendar a little bit. When I designed it, I went ahead and designed it to give you enough space all the way around in case you wanted to make something that was longer or wider, really up to you. But for the purposes of this particular project, I left 1/8 of an inch above and then cut all the way along the line on the rest of the perimeter. So the only space you'll have is just right above each month. Once you cut them all out, you'll end up with something like this. Okay, and then you want to stack them all on top of each other. Try to have as even as possible, and you punch 2 holes with your crocodile. Okay, since you're going through 12 pieces, it's going to be quite a little bit of a challenge. So I'm using the smaller one and about 1/4 of an inch in. And in between the grape panel there, I'm just trying to center it and then punch all the way through. Gather all those pieces again, turn it over, and you're going to do the same on the other end. Making sure you're centering it in the middle again. And I think I almost got it. Pretty good. I think that's it. Okay, and then just punch it through. So you'll end up with something like this. Use your brads, put them through. Okay, and then on the other side, just go ahead and open the little legs, the brad legs, and making sure you don't see them from the front. So maybe at an angle sometimes. Okay, and then there's your calendar, and it's easy to then just rip off pages. Add tape. So it'll look something like this. And just go ahead and remove all those pieces. Bring back that holder. I add a little bit of double-sided tape on top, and you'll see why in a second. Go ahead and try to center it as much as possible towards the bottom, because the top we are going to add some flowers and ribbon and such. Okay, so that's done. Then go ahead and remove that piece, and let me show you what we're working on now. So these flowers and the ribbon, basically. You're going to thread your piece of ribbon through the first loop and adhere it kind of in the middle of that piece. Bring it down a little bit, and then thread it through that other loop. Now be careful when you do this to check in the back, because sometimes the ribbon tends to twist itself, and it did. So let me straighten it out. It's just little details, you know, to have your ribbon flat in the back. It looks nice from the inside as much as in the front. And then just go ahead and snip off any excess ribbon you might have, as such. And then I'll show you a little tip that I did with my flowers. I went ahead, since I was making so many of these, I went ahead and put them all on a glue dot roll. So I added 2 Prima flowers and then a little pearl in the middle, and then just kept them on the roll, because then it's just easier to get them, especially when you're making a bunch of them. It's kind of like an assembly line, and you don't have to stop and put them together. And with that, you're done. That's your calendar. Isn't it fun? Quite easy. Then let's get your holder, open it up, and slip it in. And that's it. I hope you have fun making these, and as always, let me know if you have any questions.